내가 실직을 하고 싶어서 한 게 아니잖아.
내가 몇 번을 말해! 실직 자체가 문제가 아니라 네가 실직에 어떻게 대처하는지 그게 문제라고!
What do you do when your life resets without warning? Do you fall into the comfort of your worst habits? Do you compromise your self-worth for the illusion of stability? Or do you forge your own way back up, however dark it may be? These are some looming questions that Park Chan Wook tries to explore in his 2025 film No Other Choice. After examining the inner conflicts and moral strain that define his earlier work, consisting mostly of the Vengeance trilogy, Park encountered a more grounded yet unsettling idea in the Donald Westlake novel The Axe. Here too, just like his films, the question posed was same. How far can a person go when pushed to the edge? And what are they willing to lose along the way? Only difference was, instead of the reason being revenge or love, it was for survival. This idea gripped the director so strongly that he set out to adapt it as an American story as early as in 2009.
자본주의의 정말 심장이라고 할 수 있는 미국에서 벌어진 이야기로 만드는 것이 더 좋다고 생각했죠. 그러나 어쨌든 바로 그 자본주의 미국에서 저에게 제가 원하는 만큼의 자본을 대주지 않았기 때문에 시간이 오래 걸렸고요. 결국 한국 영화로 만들지 않으면 안 되게 됐죠.
The film that eventually emerged feels richer and more personal to the characters, reimagining the story in a modern context where they face problems that wouldn't have existed in 1997. Lee Byung-hun plays Yoo-man Soo, a working-class manager at Solar Paper who is content with his life. But after 25 years of service, he is unceremoniously laid off after an American company acquires their firm and cite a reduction in human roles due to advancing tech.
There's no other choice.
13 months pass away and there's nothing more than a part-time job in hand. This is where the real story begins. The 2005 French adaptation of the novel, which goes by the same name, stays much more closer to the source material, both in structure and plot, where the film opens in media res. A man is stalking someone in the middle of the night. He has a gun, which he is itchy to use. From a distance, he takes aim, but fails to shoot. He keeps following him. And when the opportunity appears, he accelerates. Only later do we come to know that this man is Bruno, a former paper company employee, and this was not his first kill. From then on, we trace back to the beginning of his story. This is one way of looking at the story, piquing our interest at the start with questions, making us curious. Or you could go the other way, introduce the characters first. Show us what they had, what their stable life used to look like before they hit rock bottom. Both the films have a very different treatment. The French version unfolds strictly through Bruno's perspective. We only learn things as he does, keeping us locked inside his experience. In contrast, Park Chan Wook expands the narrative. We see the world not just through Mansu, but also through his wife, Miri, and son, Siwon. Even the people he targets are reduced from 6 in the novel to just 3. But each one is given more depth and treated properly. Where the French version deliberately withholds information about Bruno's victims To avoid humanizing them, Park does the opposite. Bruno tries to keep his distance from his targets, avoiding any direct contact, because he knows he couldn't remain sane if he sees anyone more than a checklist. In the Korean version, however, Park uses these killings differently. The targets are used as a mirror to reflect the same shortcomings back onto Mansu. Each target resembles him in some way, and each share the same interests. Only difference is how they decide to live their life. They either wallow in their pride, unable to move on, or let go of their self-respect completely so as to provide for their family, going to their lowest of lows. And then there's Mansu, conflicted between different opinions. How do you show the inner thoughts of a character? For the novel, it was easy. It was written in the first perspective. And for the French version, they simply used voiceover wherever possible.
Et c'est là que j'ai eu envie de savoir combien d'hyperdiplômés avec photos sexy pouvaient prétendre à ce poste avant moi.
But Park Chan Wook, along with the writers Lee Kyung-mi, Don McKellar, and Lee Ja-hai, made sure to make the screenplay as visual as possible. Some world-building elements that were simply stated in the original
Avant, nous avions 2 voitures.
are fleshed out and visually shown in the Korean one. Want to show how he remembers stuff? Make him write on his hand. Want to show his discomfort during an interview? Make the sunlight blind him. Want to show how humiliating it is to get fired? You get the point. He uses the fact that we are already familiar with this visual language to plant doubts into our mind with a single look, turning us into active participants. And when he isn't doing that, he is quietly showing us how Mansu absorbs information. When Mansu looks around the bar, he notices that some bottles have labels on them, but the director deliberately withholds what's on them. Later, when he begins stalking the line manager of Moon Paper, Choi Sun Chul, we know exactly why he came back to the same bar. Director Park is amongst the few who knows the values of the past while simultaneously being the one that incorporates new tech into his films. He doesn't shy away from using phones and other convenient technology that some writers feel could overpower the characters. Whether it is to show a relationship, to save someone,
안녕하세요. 여기 레드페퍼 페이퍼 인사팀입니다.
or an efficient way to capture someone's POV and their reaction at the same time. It comes back again and again. Someone's POV, their reaction, and then their action, with minimal or no cuts. When not using technology per se, he still keeps his frames efficient, utilizing both height and depth. Look at this frame at the 27-minute mark. The film is in 2.39:1 ratio, and a wider lens is used, placing the TV on the left, Revan, his daughter, in the center, and Mansu on the right. Mansu has his hand stretched up. Miri is placed further back, making use of the depth. In a single shot, we understand the geography of the location. Now, cut to a different angle. Notice how Revan is still in the middle, and Mansu stays on the right, his hands still filling the vertical space. From here on, the film could move into mid or close shots without losing track of where everyone is. Similarly, in this scene, Mansu tells his son about his grandpa having to kill pigs in the old barn. And the very next shot, the greenhouse that replaced the barn sits quietly in the background. But the shot doesn't stop. The camera then follows Mansu as he moves, gradually reframing to include Miri, Mansu, and Sivan in the same shot, just as the conversation shifts to keeping a secret from Miri.
엄만 몰라.
The three form a neat triangle, making the dynamic instantly legible. The blocking, the movement, and the dialogue work in sync. Throughout the film, the words and the visuals have this unique synergy.
아이고,
When we talk about visual storytelling, it's not just moving pictures, but the marriage of image and sound. And Park knows the importance of it. How sound could be used to heighten tension,
손님.
connect to theme, or put the needed emphasis on an important moment. Watch how he plays out this scene. We are in the final act now. Mansu has cleared his competition and the only one left is Choi. Mansu has endured a lot of pain until now. His family back home is falling apart, but he still chooses to fight on. He manages to get an invitation to Choi's villa using some sympathy and alcohol. Keep in mind that Mansu has been sober for years and has promised his wife to never take up alcohol again, as he tends to lose his senses. They go inside, hit up a few cigars, and start conversing. Mansu pretends to drink along. The music plays on. While having a real talk with Choi for the first time, Mansu realizes that Choi is overworked and he could actually use an extra hand.
뭐냐?
He tries to convince Choi to talk to the higher-ups.
야, 우리 진짜 잘 맞을 것 같지 않냐?
A rare close-up of his face.
이 팀.
And to his surprise, Choi agrees.
그래. 얘기 한번 해보던가.
Could he have just talked it out? Was this all for nothing? Is this real? And the music crescendos. Back at home, Miri is on to Mansu and is uncertain what to do. We go to the villa once more.
알아.
The music has disappeared.
그 부민 새끼들 교차 연결 섬유소 레시피. 근데
There is no need to kill him.
어쩔 수가 없더라고.
Mansu thinks as he gets more relaxed.
레시피까지 써야 되는 거 아니잖아. 아니 라인 매니저 해가지고 어떻게 이런 집에 사냐고 저 차가며. 이거 누가 보면 야 완전 돈 먹고 다녔다 그러지 뒤에서.
He even provokes his ego by subtly calling him corrupt. And it backfires.
난 뒤졌어 이제.
At least that's what Mansu thought.
폭탄 좋게.
The tension builds as the beer fizzes up. The thought of his wife lingers as we cross-cut back home. The thematic motif comes back.
아 뭐해?
And then Mansu takes back control. Although the path he has taken veers into something far darker, and sooner or later, this version of Mansu is about to collide with a Miri
같이 면접 본 사람들
who is already at the edge.
죽었다고.
But to understand this better, we need to take a step back and spend some time with Mansu and Miri. From the start, Mansu is portrayed as a typical family man. He has opinions about his situation, but whenever he stands to voice them, he is brought down by the thought of his family. If he is able to bond with C1 through relatable actions,
혼자서 범죄를 저지른다는 건 굉장히 외롭고 무서울 수 있거든.
then at the same time, he is made aware of his helplessness when he is not able to provide for everyone.
아빠 꼭 데리고 올게.
They act as a catalyst as to why he is fighting this war.
우리 식구 뭐 하면 되는 거예요, 뭐?
And to do that, He turns to every skill that he has accumulated over the years. His patience with gardening, his knowledge of paper tech, and most importantly, his ability to observe and learn from others. At one point, he states that he is worried that his daughter just echoes others' words.
이 많은 식구를 먹여 살릴 순 없다고 생각해.
But that's exactly what he has been doing.
내가 종일밥 먹은 지 25년이야.
내가 종이밥 먹은 지 25년이야, 여보.
Absorbing,
아니 사장이 갑자기 5시 비행기로 중국 돌아가겠다고.
adapting,
지금 사장님이 5시 비행기로 취리로 돌아가시거든요.
and becoming a reflection of the world around him. Then there comes Miri. She is the practical head of the family,
지금 이 순간부터 비상 상황이라는 사실을 직시해 줬으면 해.
who knows how to remain calm in sticky situations
당황하지 말라며.
and knows how to deal with the worst of the society.
그것도 팔아요. 사세요.
She is trying her best to keep it together for the family. But as Mansu drifts further and further away from her, doubts are planted in her mind, and their relationship slowly starts falling apart. But their bond is not as fragile as one might expect. Compared to the French version, where Marlene,
Dis-moi la vérité.
Bruno's wife,
Quelle vérité?
is mostly kept in the dark,
Ils ont trouvé les logiciels.
she doesn't even know that the police are investigating some madman killing former paper employees. Miri is more involved with everything. She plays an active part. She doesn't believe that their current situation is a deal breaker but only a setback. And so does Mansu. Heck, even their arguing ends up in them complimenting each other.
너 이쁘니까 너 너무 이쁘잖아.
너도 잘생겼잖아.
But what happens when Mansu's dark deeds are finally dug up?
근데
걱정돼서 너무 밤늦게 다니잖아. 몸 조심해야 되는데.
난 괜찮아.
She chooses to remain ignorant,
어떻게 그렇게 확신해?
declaring that she will stand by him even if he has to walk a dark path.
그건 나도 같이 하는 거야. 알았어?
The film repeatedly frames them as a formidable pair, especially in moments like when they confront Dongo's father to protect their son. Mansu has a toothache throughout the movie, and it is not a coincidence that Miri takes up a part-time job as a dental hygienist. We are shown that they can help each other, and yet, for some reason, Mansu refuses to lean on her. Whenever Mansu is going further into the darkness,
똑바로 보면서 그렇게 하는 건 진짜 어려워.
Miri is there to bring him back to light, but he never allows it. Mansu believes he alone has to fight this war.
나 지금 전쟁 중이잖아. 가족을 위해서.
He alone can keep their house intact.
그걸 기억하려고.
And that's what he does. Unaware that the very thing he is trying to protect has already begun to fracture from within. 2 times it has been stated that Mansu is fighting a war. And if it is a war,
안 그래도 요즘 우리 가족은 전쟁 중.
as the film keeps insisting, then the question arises, who is he fighting?
저는 언제나 인물 개인의 내면을 파고드는 그런 영화를 만들 때에도 언제나 그 인물이 속한 사회와의 관계에 대해서 생각을 해야 한다라고 그렇게 보는 편입니다.
Early on in the film, it is stated that getting laid off is as good as being dead. It is not a statement that arises from thin air, but from the struggles real people have endured in the society. After serving for 25 years and being able to build a life of his own, Mansu has been conditioned to think that the only way he can survive in this capitalist world is if he has the comfort of his job. Being unemployed is stigmatized as being a social death, and it corrupts the man in such a way that the same person who earlier was ready to stand up for his colleagues now sees everyone as his competition, the enemy he must destroy. The thought of clearing the upper management doesn't even occur because he believes the only influence he has is over the people who belong to the same socio-economical class as his. The people in control get away with introducing ridiculous policies as the middle class fight amongst themselves. An outstretched example of this could be seen through the journey of his mustache. At the beginning, when his life is stable, Mansu keeps a mustache even though it isn't considered particularly fashionable in Korean culture. But he kept it still because he was confident of his position in the society. But later, when he is unable to find a job after months, succumbing to the societal pressure, he shaves it off, going for a more conventional and more specifically for an ideal candidate look. In these times of desperation, he himself becomes the thing he advises against, a cog in the machine.
한국에서 준비 중.
But later in the end, when a false state of stability has been reached after he takes back control, the mustache returns, separating him from the rest of the crowd. It doesn't make him more appealing, but gives him the confidence that he needs. At the end, the question still lingers. Was it all worth it? Mansu gets the job. The dogs return. The house is no longer up for sale. On the surface, everything is restored, but there's a sense of foreboding underneath.
벌레가 끌어가지고 다 죽어가더라.
The sunny spring where we started from is heading towards a cold, rainy winter. The family is fractured. The work has changed. The lights aren't needed. The music, instead of drowning, is replaced by the sound of machines. Mansu achieved what the society wanted him to do, but he, as a human, has disappeared in the darkness.
사라졌다고 했는데 왜 죽었다고 생각하시죠?
그야 뭐 아니 사실 요즘 세상에 사라졌다 그러면 대부분 뭐